all able to view my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma. Uh, just going to repeat whatever we had seen yesterday, and then we can play. We have seen like how to connect to that Excel workbook, right? And from there only, I'm going to continue off. So I have opened a blank PBIX file. We do have the either I go with the get data option, get data menu and open or maybe like connect to your Excel workbook. I can do this, or it's even there in very much is ready-made given to us, right? So the first one, which is your connecting to Excel, open. Navigator is going to open up for me. I say it's establishing a connection to that particular Excel workbook. And now navigator, if I select this, I still haven't checked that box, but still I have selected that sheet of data. The name itself is data. We can see the preview over here. At times, if you feel it's an old one, it also tells us like this preview is a very old one, like maybe 1 day or maybe 10 days or whatever, how many ever count of days old if it tells you. You can always come here and refresh it. Okay, and till now my load and transform data, both these buttons are grayed out. These will get activated only if I go ahead and check this particular box. Now I will go for the transform data because I want to open my Power Query editor for the transformations. Okay, I just make it a bit zoom. Okay. As yesterday also we did see your like we had just tried to establish a connection to that Excel workbook. We have chosen what particular Excel workbook we want to connect to, and it has established a connection, and we are seeing the data very much onto our Power Query editor. So by this much only we have done. But even after that, we do see four steps that have come by default. Okay. Source is nothing but it's just going to tell me that I am going to connect to Excel workbook and this is my file path. Now, when you are doing at your end, you are going to download this particular connecting to Excel, that particular workbook, and then your machines or your local path only you're going to give. Okay, for everyone, this path is going to be different. Okay, that's first thing. And we are going to connect to the first row. We have seen it yesterday also. Only one is actually not hidden, it's which is visible to us. And it just says item is equal to data and kind is equal to sheet. That's what is your navigation step all about. And then by default, it has applied the promoted headers, which by default is wrong over here. Many times it is quite fine, all good. Had these two initial rows, those two top rows had not been there, okay, if they had not been there, my promoted headers would have been all fine. Whatever step Power Query would have applied on its own, that would have just come up all right. But since I do have those extra columns like all spaces which I'm able to see as null values over here, that's the reason the promoted headers step is not the correct one. I do see something not correct one, right? I should see the name, gender, department over here in the header area. So let's just delete the change type and my promoted headers. We'll just delete these two. Sorry, delete the top two rows. I'll come here, remove rows, remove top two rows. And number of rows that I want to remove from the top is 2. I'll say okay. Fine. Now towards the end, here the last one, 7th column is all null. Earlier it was having that particular example #1, right? We had removed the top two row. That's the reason I'm not seeing anything over there. So all empty. So let me just go ahead and delete or remove this. Let's put a proper word. Let's just remove this column. Okay. Now obviously we are going to go ahead for first row as headers, which is we are going to apply the promoted headers now. So after you apply, change type step has just come off along with it. And yes, whatever that change type I am seeing looks all good to me. Date is with the date one. Now, if at all we all want, like we are going to do the data type changes manually, we just have to come here, the place where you see the ABC, just take your mouse pointer to there, click on it, or maybe select that. You are going to get the whole list of it. Okay. And yesterday also I did mention the fixed decimal number is nothing but currency. Okay, and few more I'll come as in we are going to go ahead. I'll come and explain you each and everything. Don't worry. But before doing all of this, I want to show you all something. Till here, all good? Any
Yes,
doubts
ma'am.
you have?
No.
Okay. Now, once I have this kind of a data, like headers are all at the proper position and everything, okay, here maybe how many records are there? We need to know. Fine. I'll come across how to find out how many records are there. But even before that, okay, say suppose we are just given, say, a small bunch of data, maybe just 10 records data has been given to me. Just by one glance, I can make out, okay, if there is some null value, if there is some unnecessary spaces and all. Okay, here I do see there is a space before AB, right here. Okay, it is very much visible to me. The first row itself, it's there. So I am able to say, okay, department column has got a null value. Similarly, salary columns also got a null value. But okay, I maybe if I'm not fortunate enough to see something at the initial rows only, what if we are given, not all the time I am going to be given some kind of a toy data set. When I mean toy data set means like around this 10 records or 20 records. Nobody is going to give us such a small data. Definitely minimum is 100. Okay. So even if it's 100 means how we can't be okay. We can't be keeping on scrolling over here and checking each and every data. So meaning to what I mean to say is to find out the quality of the data, it really requires to put on a lot of efforts, especially if my record count is very huge. So for that reason only, Power Query has really come up with one good tool. We are in the home tab, right? So come to your view tab. Yeah, you do have these three options over here, which is column distribution. One by one, I'll open. First is your column distribution. The moment I did check that box, can see something over here which says like for each and every column, how many values are distinct and how many values are unique. Now, unique is, obviously it means that at that particular value has appeared only once. And when I say distinct means it's at least once. And when I say at least once means obviously it has occurred more than once. Okay, but the way they say it is distinct value means that, at least once, and unique means exactly once. And if at all my table has got a primary key, like primary key means what? Identifier for that particular full row, right? That's what a primary key is all about, right? Do you all agree? Yes, no?
Yes,
Yes,
Maitli.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So there should be, okay, there should be a way to understand which is the primary key of my data or my table that I'm really seeing. If at all here, okay, for the name column, I'm seeing 927 distinct and 854 unique, which means to, okay, kind of these two, okay, I do know what's unique, what is distinct, that's okay. But if these count are same, say suppose both of them are 927 or both of them are 854, I can come to a conclusion that the name column is a primary key. Okay, that is the identification. Do remember this. If at all we see this distinct count and unique count, exactly the same number, then yes, that particular column is a primary key. But here I do see none of them are like that, right? We do have 6 columns now. None of them are very much like that. Okay, that is first thing to be noted. Second one, gone for the column distribution. Let me check the second box, which is column profile. Now, column profile, what it does is for each and every column, kind of a statistics it opens in front of me. It just says that count is 1000. There are no error records, no empty records. How many distinct, unique, and all. Any empty string, by any chance, empty string is there? Yes. And minimum and maximum. This minimum maximum is nothing but it's a text column, right? Your name is nothing but a text ABC. So a minimum of ABC will be like A to Z and Z to A. Minimum will be from the one value or the text string which is starting just around A, or maybe see all of them. Many of you they do start from A, right? So they are just going to, like, if you are going to sort this particular column in ascending or descending order, okay, if it's an ascending order, whichever is the least value or the first value, that will be the minimum value. And if I do sort it in the descending order, that's the reverse one. Or let me say like reverse dictionary, Z to A. So whichever value will be at the top, that will be your max value. But then this max and min here doesn't really make much sense to us. I will be much interested if I have got the start date, like a date column. Here I can really make out your min date and your max date, like a lower bound and upper bound. This particular any date column you encounter in your future classes, where you're going to see this min date and maxim date, that's going to be of real help to you. Okay, how? I'll tell you now. We can just make out an idea. Now we'll get an idea. I have got such big data to me. Okay, what is the lower bound data? Like what's the minimum date and what's the maximum date? Yes, do you get my point?
Yes.
Are you all with me? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And
So
yes, tell me. Yes. Okay. Now in here, your along with column statistics to the right hand side, it's like for each of the value, how many times like it's really occurring. Your here, if you can see start date, the value 10th of August 2019, it's appearing 7 times in this particular data set. Okay, what if I come over here? If I come to gender, there are only two values, no? Two proper values, which is your male and female. Yes, there are empty. I do have null values over there. That's reason shows me as empty. 43 empty. And since it's a null, one few of them are null, it says three distinct values. Male, female, they're getting repeated. Okay, see here also min and max. F, if I do A to Z, F will be the front. And if I do the Z to A, M will be at the front. Okay, how many values or records have, or how many male members are there and how many female members are there? That count is really being given here. But the main highlight is nothing but this column statistics. Now, one thing you should really notice here, at the bottom, it just says 6 columns and 999 plus rows. And here also count says 1000. But I'm not really sure whether the count of records over here is exactly 1000 or more than that. But then what Power Query does is, even though the data set maybe it might have some 5 million records, it might have. What it does is this column profiling, it will be doing based on the top 1000 rows. This is the default option. But then you can change it. If you just click here, two options are being shown up, right? So first one is based on top 1000 rows. But if I want to see based on entire data set, I'll choose the second one. Now you see the count tells me as 1046. Okay. So 1046 is nothing but 999 plus records only. If it's less than this 999 records, no, it will directly show me the number over here, or else it just gives us a generic number like 999 plus records.
Yeah.